Hello, hello, everyone. Let's see. How is everyone doing today? Let's start it up in the chat. If you can see me and you can hear me, go ahead and give me a shout out. Today's webinar is brought to you by PhotoDay, getting organized with exports. And we're going to talk about all different types of exports and data you can get out of PhotoDay today. Hey, Rocky. Hey, I heard you were coming to PhotoDay Experience. Hey, Sabrina. Good to see some familiar names in here. Hey, Luke. All right, awesome. All right. Hey, Chuck. All right, perfect. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so fun story here. I totally forgot to charge my keyboard and realized it was at 1% right before this webinar. So luckily, I figured it out before we started and I was able to plug it in. Hey, Jerome. All right, awesome. So yeah, I feel like exports or getting your data out of PhotoDay has kind of been this like secret. So hopefully, not really secret, but you kind of discover as you go along. So we put this slide deck together for you guys, and I'm going to show you all the data, how it's collected, how you get it out of PhotoDay, and what you can use it for. Yeah, the good old Apple. I realized it when I went to connect my AirPods. And I was like, oh, well, my mouse has 12% left. So I think we'll be good on my mouse. But my keyboard was at like 1. And I'm like, yeah, we should plug that in. Start charging before we start here. So for those of you who don't know me, welcome. My name is Lisa Malice. I'm part of the team here at PhotoDay. If you've watched webinars before, you've probably seen me talk a whole bunch. So today's a new webinar. So I was able to pull some data together and show you guys some examples, and hopefully this will be an educational experience and also give you some ideas and some insight as to what's next with PhotoDay and the data that is being collected and exported on your behalf. Well, you guys export, we don't export it, but you export it. So I want to show you all how this works. So I'm just going to dive right in. And right before I do, just some general housekeeping. If the screen locks up, if you lose sound, I freeze at any time, there's a reconnect button, or just refresh your browser window. It should connect. Sometimes there's blips in the internet, and that's what happens. If there's any emergency where we lose sound or whatever, I'll just restart. Just hang tight. It'll tell you, and then I'll restart and I'll be right back. But in this wonderful world of virtual work environments and streaming, we tend to have some issues sometimes. So hopefully we won't have any of that today, but there's also a chat delay. So from the time I talk and I see your chat, there's about a 10-second delay. So I'm not ignoring you. I tend to talk really fast, but I'll circle back. Feel free to ask any questions here as we go along. That's what these live webinars are for. And since you're attending live, you get to ask all the questions. So it's a total benefit as into tuning in live. So we'll just get started here first. So there's different types of data that you can export in PhotoDay, and I kind of broke it down here. I think I got all of them. One is reports. We have the orders report, the sales report, and the product report. I'm going to go through each one of those, what they mean and what that data looks like when you get it, when you export it. Yes, Sabrina, all these webinars are recorded. You'll be able to access them in PhotoDay Academy in the studio panel or at webinars.photoday.io. So, all right, back to the webinar. So price sheets. So you were able to export your price sheet. I'm going to show you that too. Insights, there's some hidden data. Well, I say hidden data, but there's some data that you can export from your insights within each job. We're going to walk through that and the benefits of what you can get there. And then as well as our service export feature. Now the export feature, when you're exporting data, is only available for private galleries at this time. That could change down the road, but right now it is only for private galleries. So those are our 4 different ways that you can export data out of PhotoDay. I really like the insights export, especially if you're selling a lot of advanced pay credits, and I'll show you what that is because you can see who's used the credits, who hasn't used them yet. But you can also see all the image numbers that are being purchased as well on that export. So I've prepared this to let you guys know what each one of those things are. So let's look at the most exciting exports first out of PhotoDay, which is your report. So in the reports menu, you have 3 different types of exports. You have sales, you have orders, and you have product reports. So your sales report is basically this overall summary. It's monthly, and I blurred out sensitive data here. So if you guys are wondering why your screen's blurry, I intentionally blurred out some of this data as we go along, so we can be mindful and not share anyone's personal data. So here in the report sales section, like I said, it's just an overall summary. You're going to see your gross sales. Gross sales include everything. They include tax, they include shipping. That is the gross sales. The product cost is the cost of the product from the lab. So downloads come from PhotoDay. There's no cost associated with that product. However, like the 8x10s or 5x7s or mugs and stuff that your customer's ordering, that's a product cost. So then there's the shipping cost, right? So this displays all the shipping, whether you paid it or whether like you paid it by giving the free shipping coupon or whether your customer paid shipping. So I'll show you how to get more detail into that as we go. Digitals cost, this is because when we launched PhotoDay, we actually used to charge for digitals like 5 years ago. We no longer charge for them. So that column should always be blank unless you're a legacy user and you go all the way back to like 2018 when we first launched those first few months where there was a digital charge. The PhotoDay fee, that's going to be that commission fee that we take, and that is pre-tax and shipping. The credit card fee, which is the processing fee. Taxed amount, that is, we use an API to figure out how to collect appropriate sales tax on products and shipping. Some states, believe it or not, like shipping is taxable. So it really depends on the origin and destination based addresses to see like what products they're ordering, whether it's digital, whether it's shipping, whether it's a print product. Those all have tax codes assigned to them, and we figure it out in this very sophisticated world of online taxes, e-commerce solutions. So we figure that out for you. And then, of course, there's a overall breakdown each one. And then the last column is going to be your payout. So right now that payout includes the sales tax, so you can remit it to the state. However, tax and laws and all this stuff is changing. So things might change as we keep going along here with PhotoDay. We follow what we're supposed to be doing and what's not happening. And the laws are forever changing. So we're always up to date with that. And we will keep you guys posted if anything like that changes here in the near future. So that's basically your overview. Now, depending on where your state is and how you file your taxes and how you turn this into your CPA, like you may be using this report because you're just remitting that lump sum of taxes that was collected and just sending that into the state and not having to do a detailed breakdown. Some of you guys might need a more detailed breakdown of those taxes and the different rates that are collected when it comes to city, county, district, all that stuff. So this is what that report looks like when you export it. So you'll notice that there's these column headers here. I'm going to get more into this later, but when you export this data out of PhotoDay, it's going to dump it into a CSV file, and then you're able to open that. My favorite platform to use when working with any kind of data, and I work with a lot of data, is the G Suite products. I love Google Sheets. There's a lot of support. It's very easy to use. Also, because I do so many spreadsheets, reports, and forecasting and things like that, I can stay more organized and have files saved all over my hard drive, right? So I always like to keep my documents securely, like in the cloud somewhere. That way I can access them from my phone or from my desktop. I highly recommend it. I know some people use numbers, some people use Excel, but I am like a big advocate of Google Sheets. And man, like we'll get more into formatting CSVs and stuff like that in a little bit, but there's all kinds of tips and tricks you can do in any program that you're using. But man, don't get into the manual copy and paste and editing your data, because all you have to do is Google how to do it, and Google will tell you how to do it in those software programs and save yourself a bunch of headaches when you get to that point. So, all right, so the orders report, that's what next. Now this is kind of an overwhelming report because it's basically all the details about the orders you're getting and how we came out with the payout, right? So So it's kind of crazy because when you have a lot of sales in here, the orders report can be very daunting. But if you're looking for a more detailed report that breaks out all of your fees, this is the report that you're going to want to look at, not the overall sales summary, right? The sales summary doesn't give you a complete breakdown. The orders report gives you a complete breakdown of all your incoming orders. And the great thing about it is you can filter it by date range. You can filter it by job. This is the report to use if you're going to pay commissions or if you're running PictureDay as a fundraiser. You can really figure out, I mean, especially because I know some of you guys do it off your net profit, not your gross profit. So you can use this report to figure that out really easily, especially if you're only writing that commission check or giving that fundraiser in a specific, like the first 30 days the job is published. You can query the date range, export that report, do your totals, and you'll have your check amount for that commission check, right? So we're just in the beginning of season now. So I think all of this is really important for everybody to understand, especially if you're new to PhotoDay. We get asked questions a lot on this because when you export this report and you have a ton of data, it looks like this, right? There are so many columns. I blurred a lot of this out. I know it's really small, but when I export, I was like, holy crap, so many columns. There's so much data on this report. But here's my point to all of this. We have this awesome report key that tells you what each column means. So if you're trying to export your orders report and figure out which columns do you add to get to your studio payout, you're going to want to use this report key because report things, we kind of tend to over report because all of you guys use different software. You have different CPAs who do things different ways. And so there's not really a right way and a wrong way. There's really like your way on how you do accounting and how you keep track of your numbers, right? So the detailed report key, it's really easy to find. We keep this behind locked doors. So you have to be logged into studio.photoday.io. And then you can just pull up the little live chat and search in the articles report key, and it'll take you right to this report key. So it'll tell you what each one of those, like, I don't know, 30 something columns in that report are. So you can figure out like what is, like, if you're grouping by county tax or if you're grouping by district, the district tax rate, whatever you have to do, it will be in this. And of course, if you guys have any questions along the way, just ask us. We can figure it out for you. We can help point you in the right direction. But hopefully this gives you a lot to go on here to figure out, like, how did you end up with that number? Because I think that's like one of those most popular questions. And for anybody new tuning in and you start right away with advance pay, just know our fees on advance pay are not super steep. It's just that we only pay you out half of the advance pay credit until it gets redeemed towards an order. We have to reserve some funds because they may not order in excess of what they purchased the credit amount for. So since we don't keep your payment on file and we don't have a way to charge you, we have to reserve that money in like your own little escrow account so we can cover whatever product. You get the remaining payout when they apply that credit towards an order. That's how that works. So just wanted to bring that up as we go along. This is probably one of my favorite reports. It's the product report. And if you're not looking at this by job, like if you didn't look at it, if you used PhotoDay in the spring and you did not look at this report yet to figure out what you should be pricing yourself out or how you can give yourself a raise this fall, like, then you need to stop what you're doing right after this webinar and you need to go to your product report and see what are your top selling packages, what can you modify to give yourself, one, not only new profit, two, maybe you need to up some of your most popular selling items or decrease some of your items that are not selling at all to find that sweet spot to get sales conversion, right? You might not have something priced right. And this is my favorite example. This dates back to the paper order form days. I used to run these reports all the time based on paper order forms for my clients. And what I would see is that, like, this is the greatest example. I had one studio and the previous year, they barely sold any trading cards. Well, trading cards were listed for like $22 on their paper order forms. We had it on the form. We had it in a package. We upped the price of the package. The trading cards were expensive. Nobody was buying them. So the following year, we decreased the price of the trading cards $3, right? We went through and we looked at what the averages were selling for, and we're like, okay, let's bump that price down $3. This customer sold thousands of units of trading cards. They went from almost no sales on trading cards to thousands. Everybody was buying them, and their overall profitability increased by like 33%. It was insane. This is how much we want to tell you guys to pay attention to what you're pricing for and what the market is demanding. These are the reports that you're going to need to look at for that. So the only thing that just gets cloudy on this report is if you're constantly like editing a price sheet instead of making a new price sheet, you're going to cloud your data, right? So if you use the same price sheet over and over again and you just keep making changes to it versus creating a new price sheet with new pricing year over year, you're going to have issues with your data. So you always want to start fresh or have two separate, like if you're doing like this example shows a price sheet with a price increase and a regular price sheet, right? All in, and it's queried for the same exact job. I queried one job just to see like a comparison, like this photographer uses these two versions of the price sheet on the life cycle of a job, one with a price increase, one that's standard pricing at launch. And you can see the difference in people that are buying these packages with a price increase compared to the people that did not buy them early on to get the maximum savings, right? So it's really important data to look at here. We hope to automate some of this down the road for you guys. We're already talking a lot about it internally to figure this stuff out, because we do understand, you guys do a million different things. You're creators, you got to do your analytics, you got to do your own selling, your own marketing, all this good stuff. So the more stuff we can help automate for you guys, the better, right? And that's where we really see a value in our partnership with our studios. So product report, this is what it looks like when you export it. So you can tally it. You can kind of play around with, you can divide 35 by 5 to see how much you're selling per unit, because it's going to total them up at the end. So basically you can use your spreadsheets or Google Sheets, my favorite, to plug in some numbers and kind of estimate like how to give yourself a raise for the following season. Even if you increase, like, this is the name of the game here is still volume, right? We're selling to like hundreds, if not thousands of people in a very short amount of time. So you want to make sure you're optimizing your price sheets at all times. And that's what this report can help you do. It can give you that transparency or that insight. So, oh my gosh, I am in the way. Hold on. Sorry, I'm totally in the way. I thought I went through all of this. Let me move my little guy here to the bottom. Okay, I'm over here now. All right, so price sheets. This is another type of export that PhotoDay offers. So it's kind of like hidden. I drew an arrow to it here on my screen. This is how you export your price sheets. But this is a sample price sheet that I have in one of my galleries. But like, let me tell you one thing. The one thing I always see people, especially in the users group, in our Facebook users group, is like asking like, can I see your price sheet? Or can I see your, can you share your price sheet? What's working, what's not? If you guys want to get real collaborative with each other and you guys made some friends through the PhotoDay users group, you can come up here and you can click this little button and you can export your price sheet. It's going to dump everything into a CSV file that you can share with somebody else. I'll show you what that looks like. So it looks like this. So it's going to show you like the product name, if it's a print product or if it's a package, and what the base cost, what the markup, what the retail price, the PhotoDay fee, and what the product description. For the packages, it's going to list the contents of the package. So if you're just a sharer, if you want to collaborate with a group of people and all share your price sheets, you totally can do that. You can hit the export button on your price sheet and just break it out individually. This is also helpful for those like old school organizations that are like, I want to see a printed copy of your price sheet. I'm like, well, you have two options. You can just make a demo gallery, attach it, let them go through the whole experience and look at your storefront to see the pricing and packages, or you can export this and send it over and be able, and just, I would take out like the PhotoDay fee column, the base cost, just leave the retail price column in here. You can delete the other columns and send it off or PDF it and give it to them so they can look at what your pricing is, right? So you can do it that way as well. So I know that's still like a hot subject on a lot of the organizations that are converting over from paper order forms. So that's just another export you can get out of PhotoDay. And then we have insights. So once you have a job rocking and rolling, you got a published job, it's in advanced pay mode, or even if you have it in draft and you're collecting opt-ins, you have two more types of exports you can do. So you have the sales, and this is on your jobs, this is under sales, and then you have customers. So the sales is going to give you all the sales data on those orders and those advance pay credits, and the customers, so that's going to give you something else here shortly. So I like using insights to really see like how the job is performing, right? So you can kind of estimate like what your sales are going to be, especially if you were selling a lot of credits that still need to be converted and you got time left on the gallery. So if you're not familiar with the PhotoDay sales cycle, I'll tell you right now, probably moving your business online, you're going to do between 50 and 60% of your sales the first week the gallery is published, right? That's if you have great communication and everyone's opted in and you're really relying on our text messaging system. Now, if you're using private galleries and you didn't do a lot of opt-ins or pre-marketing and advance pay, well, actually, this is true for any gallery type, your sales might be delayed a little longer. So the other thing that really, it really affects buy rates, and this is another report, I'm gonna hopefully get this together, we're gonna do a blog about it, is how long it takes you to actually publish a gallery, right? We ran into this a lot in the spring and in previous seasons where it gets really busy and you're using like an external service to do any kind of photo processing or editing to your images. And it takes a really long time to get those images back to you to publish, right? That is greatly going to affect your overall revenue. I cannot tell you guys enough to get these images published as soon as possible, right? Like maybe a week at the most. Like anything longer than that's going to start eating away at your conversion rate, right? So you want to get them done fast. So make sure that you got that on your agenda. You're getting, you photograph, you get the images off, you get them to whoever your editor is right away, and you put a timeline on when you need them back because those are directly tied to your sales and how well your gallery performs. I want to say that while we're in here since we're all in season right now. So in here in the sales report, I'll show you what that looks like when you export it. So you get a lot of data with this. You get the purchase date, phone number, person's name, email. This is great if you're doing any kind of additional marketing outside of PhotoDay. We don't do everything here, right? We try to do everything, but as we're building out features, or you might just want to do something. You might also want to market mini sessions. Like if you're a well-rounded studio and you're doing a little bit of everything, you can take this data and you can use those email addresses in MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever you have going on and put them in another funnel to sell holiday portrait sessions, right? So this data is, when they're collecting it, they're receiving communication. So you can go in here and use that for other things. So the other thing it does that I really like is it lists your order number. So you can clearly see the images that people are ordering in here if you need that record for any reason. It'll also show you if credits that have been applied to these orders as they're rolling in. So here it's going to give me all the advance pay credit sales, and it's also going to give me all the order sales on this export of the sales report. Now, when I go into the customer side, it's only going to give me customer information, but this is where you get your unused advance pay credits, right? So if you want to go back through your jobs and look at like who still has unused advance pay credits, and you want to do a separate campaign or reach out or even cancel these out if it's been an extended amount of time, you can go into your insights in that job and go to the customer report, export it out, and it's going to show you all of the unused advance pay credits here. So you can tally that up or reach out, and it's going to give you all of their information as well here and what their purchase date was. So that's where you get that information. Just wanted to show that to you guys. And now our final and probably most exciting exports are these service items exports. So this is only available in private gallery jobs, and this is why it's only available in private jobs. It's because that's the only job where we are doing any kind of image to data association, right? And the whole point of these service items export is to do like service items for the lab, ID cards, stuff like that, or a yearbook or an admin CD, or if you're using this for compositing. A lot of people use this for compositing images as well. So it could be used. And I mean, some people even use this for other systems as well. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Service item. We have different types. So on the service items exports, we have subject data. This is great. This is just going to be a CSV file dump. That's going to give you like just a CSV dump of all of your data that you've collected and matched so far. The yearbook export is going to give you the standard PSPA format on the export, and the service items export is going to give you a CSV file plus all the primary images for each one of those records. So then you can produce like the file for the school admin software or through ID cards. Here's like my favorite part about this. I mean, we don't have plans. We don't have immediate plans to charge for these exports right now. But if you were using another system before, say you were using order forms and your lab was providing all these, you are paying an upwards of like sometimes 80 to 100 bucks per admin CD or PSPA standard format export. You guys can save like a boatload of money using PhotoDay for those jobs because you don't have to pay for exports with us. Right now, they're completely free. Even our auto cropping's free, and I'll get into that in a second here. But all of this is free to use as long as you're using PhotoDay. So you can check that out on those service items export. Now, we're going to get into the subject data. So this is the first one. So this is the most basic one. So after you upload and match all your images to a private gallery, that's when you're going to want to do the export, right? Because that's where you're trying to get your data image match information back out. This is what it's going to give you on that subject data export. So you'll see your access codes. This is all data that you put in here, whether it was you were adding it via the Capture app or whether you imported it in advance and then went ahead and added more the day of in Capture, and then you finalize the job. So all of this data is entered by you. It doesn't mysteriously happen from somewhere else. So it's imported or entered by you or one of your staff members. So, and it'll tell you too, if that data was added in the studio or if it was added directly in the Capture app. So if you ever have a discrepancy, you can always do a quick subject data export just to kind of see like who added that data and where. And then it's going to dump all the file names that were matched with that subject in that photo file names column right here. And if you happen to feature photos in the gallery, featured photos are going to appear like on any of the email campaigns that go out, and especially in their gallery thumbnail when they're loading it at galleries.photoday.io. It's going to mark that featured photo for you right here on the export. So that is just the basic subject data. It's not going to export any files out. You can't do any auto cropping with it. You can't do anything fancy. It is just a standard export that you can use with other services if you're using this for any other reason, if you're using it for composites or anything like that. Now, there are more export types here. We also have the Yearbook PSPA export. So this one's a little bit more locked down because it is a standard format. So with the Yearbook PSPA export, you can set your primary images. Now, your primary image is the one single image that's going to be export and be used with the yearbook. It's not going to export all the images because that's not what this export is. It's just the standard PSPA. It's formatted specifically for yearbook companies. They all use a standardized format for these yearbook PSPAs. So if you're having to supply that, this is where you supply it, right? So you can use your featured photos, but some people don't like to use their featured photos because the featured photo might be a fun photo and that's not going to go in yearbook, right? So, or you can kind of use one of our defaults here, first captured, last captured by file name, or contains a specific word. So that contains a specific word is for like, if you're using like, let's just say Lightroom to like pick your yearbook image or another software, right? That you're running the yearbook image. We try to be really flexible with these tools that we're building for you. So then you could add to the file name, like this is for the yearbook. So when you export those file names, they all contain like YB for yearbook, for example. And you could say automatically PhotoDay, export all the images for the subjects that have YB in the file name. So just as an example, now this is only going to export photos with one face in the photo, right? So if PhotoDay detects there's more than one face in the image, it's not going to be included on that export, but it'll give you some error messages to review so you can go and hunt for the right photos if that happens. Or you might, you know, in my test case, sometimes I use test galleries with faces with multiple images and it won't, because I mean, most yearbooks, you're not going to want two faces in a photo. So we're trying to prevent that from happening. And then auto crop. So you can auto crop and get everybody's face the same size in a yearbook export as well. This is what the format looks like when you export. So here's kind of what I was talking about. It's previewing the images that I'm exporting. It's sorting them by the data that I had here. This is on the file. This is the TXT file. This is the folder structure. I set it to group by grade. So it's going to group by grade here. It's going to give me the index file. This is what the index file looks like with the image size, school name, color mode. This is all for yearbook manufacturers. That's why this format looks like this. So the standard size on this export is going to be 640 by 800 pixels. That's what you're going to get on this export because it is specifically formatted for yearbooks only, right? So that's what you want to use that one for. Missing data, it's going to put any images in here that don't have all the data in one place, so you can go ahead and correct that, or the yearbook advisor can correct it if there's no data on this. So that way they know they have everybody and they don't miss anyone from the yearbook. So I wanted to show an example with that in here just so I would remind myself to talk about it. But that is what that means. And then we have service items export. Now, this is probably the most flexible export that we have that can be included in your workflow. And what's new for this season that was added kind of like halfway through the spring is the ability to customize the file names that you're exporting using data that's available, right? So one of the complaints that we had is like all these different various admin files you got to supply to the school, and people need it a size a certain way. The files have to be named a certain way. It has to be sorted a certain way, right? Well, now you have the flexibility to create that in PhotoDay. So this is just an example of using the first captured primary photo and customizing the file name on export. Now you can use any data points you have. So if you need to rename every file exported with the student's ID, you can do that here. So I have both appending the original file name and appending the student ID on here. This one, let's just say I'm using it for an ID card crop. The images on the ID cards are a perfect 1-to-1 aspect ratio. So it's just a square, and I'm going to use auto crop on this export. This is what it's going to give me on the export review screen when I go in there. So it's going to try to make everybody's face. This isn't the greatest example of sample images, but it's what I had to work with that I can expose to the world on YouTube channel later. So without doing any privacy issues here. So and that's basically because those are my kids and all our friends' kids at PhotoDay, so that's why we can use them. So yeah, so it's going to automatically crop and try to get everybody's face size the same way. Now you can go and edit these on export. Oh, you're so welcome, Chuck. I'm so glad you like that rename function. But you can go in and you can edit these if you want prior to building your final export, right? Like, again, this is just a 1-to-1. It's giving me errors here because I didn't have like enough canvas room on these. Like, again, I'm just tricking the system here for sake of demo, but I want to show you guys this tool because auto cropping is completely free to you to use in PhotoDay for these yearbook and service items on export. So this is what it looks like. So I had it set to keep my original file name and append the student ID. I didn't put a dash or anything in there. You could get rid of the original file name if you wanted to and just have it renamed with the student ID. Question that always comes up, if you have a student ID in your data, it becomes the unique identifier. So what that means is that there can only be one person with that student ID, or you're going to run into problems. It's going to throw you errors. It's not going to let you add another student with the same ID, right? So it's kind of like dummy proof in that aspect. So it won't let you rename those files duplicate student IDs, if that makes sense. So basically that's just something to remember when using a student ID. If you don't have student ID in your data, the first and the last name together are the unique identifier, and you can possibly have duplicates if there's a lot of common names or if the job is very big. That's why schools use student IDs, because there could be a lot of kids with the same name. But yeah, so this, and yeah, there's many other reasons. That's just one of the reasons. But you can get this data back out. So it's going to be a CSV file here, and it's going to be all the files that you exported on export, and that's what that function looks like. So People use this for all different things too. My favorites are service items like giving it to your lab or using a third-party supplier or printing the ID card yourself, if you have like software to do that. Or you can send it for the admin file. So this will also come to your email. It'll be a nice little zipped up file that you can forward on to your contact, the school admin, so they have their admin already done. You can still apply auto crop to this. Like I said, when I go back a screen here, well, 2 screens here, you can customize the crop and you can customize the size. So if they need a specific size on those service items for their school software, you can set that, but it is truly flexible here to give you exactly what you need. And it is completely free. So take advantage of it this season, especially while it's still free, because I don't know how much longer it's always going to be free, but it's getting really robust. So you guys feel free to export as you wish here. Now, I'm not going to talk for a whole hour about exports today, but I don't know if the product team is going to kill me for saying this, but we are actually working on something for you PickSnap users as well when it comes to exports. So in the coming weeks, stay tuned. We got your back. We know a lot of you guys are using PickSnap and you're having to modify some of these exports to get them exactly how you need them for use with SPA for PickSnap. We got something cooking for you guys. So stay tuned for that as well. And that's going to lead me to talk. Well, we're nearing the end of this webinar, guys, so I can't talk about all this data for too long. But if you have questions, feel free to start chatting me up right now in this webinar. But I'm really excited for this first PhotoDay experience that's in person, that's on our own, not attached to any conferences or other trade shows. We've done them with SPAC over the years. We'll probably do another condensed one with SPAC this season. But yeah, so PhotoDay experience is going to be absolutely amazing. We have 2 days. I think almost all of our PhotoDay trailblazers are coming, like just to hang out and come and help educate, present, and network. A lot of our staff will be there, but it's at the Bilmar Beach Resort. It's a cute resort in a really great area. It's like a little beach town, Treasure Island, Florida. For those of you who don't know, that's in the Tampa or St. Pete area. You can fly into St. Pete or you can fly into Tampa. But we got some really good rates on that resort, and we would love to do some in-person education and networking this December. Now, for those of you going to Boat Right Boot Camp, these are the following 2 days of Boat Right Boot Camp. So 2 birds, 1 stone. You don't have to travel twice. We kind of just did it that way for convenience, and so we could share the room block at the hotel. But yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come down for that. That is a great question, Elizabeth. Did you mention the retouched photos on the export? No. For the retouched photos on the export, we are, if you do the export for service items or yearbook, and the featured photo happens to be one they ordered retouching on, it will be the retouched image that gets exported. Now, for those of you guys heavily using it for your schools this season and you want to know which items were ordered for retouching, just send us a message in support chat. We'll be able to get that information for you so we can help out with that this fall until this becomes the feature of PhotoDay. Another question we get asked all the time is, like, can my customers pick their own yearbook image? The answer is not yet. It is in process. I will tell you guys that we are currently working on moving into beta with Galleries 4.0. The select your own yearbook images is coming with Galleries 4.0, right? So that is what we're working on. We're beta testing it this fall with pretty much a good amount of studios this fall, but we will be working on that choose your own yearbook photo image in the process and plan to launch that with the new Galleries 4.0 as well. So Jerome, I am so glad you asked this question, because PhotoDay, as of today, it's totally free. There's no monthly fee to use. You can get in, you can start making jobs using it right away. We only get paid when you guys sell something right now. So that's all. So we're directly tied to your sales success. We are totally motivated to making those conversions happen. So yeah, no monthly fee. There's unlimited storage, unlimited use of PhotoDay. And yeah, this is the fee. It's 10% and it's on the subtotal before tax and shipping. A lot of commerce platforms charge on the actual total amount, including tax and shipping. We're a little bit different, so I always like to point that out. The credit card transaction fee, we use Stripe to process all the transactions and to send your payments to you. That is 2.9% plus 30 cents per order. We automatically pay your lab bills for you, so you won't get a separate bill from the lab or anything like that. That is ours. So there is an option. We do have, Jerome, we do have a option for you to do knockouts with PhotoDay and upload various background collections for your customers to preview and buy images on different backgrounds. That is part of our feature set here at PhotoDay. And we do not create class composites, but we give you the data exports to be able to use a third-party vendor or software to create your own class composites, as we just showed you. I would use a service item export for that. Probably make it super easy for you as well. So, but yeah, so you get all of this, like I said, for free from PhotoDay, and we're constantly adding things as we go, guys. So stay tuned for that. So I'm going to wrap this up right at 40 minutes. So if you guys have more questions and I'm not, and you think about them even after this webinar, you can reach out to us by email at support@photoday.io, or after you log in to PhotoDay, there's a little chat bubble, that little orange chat bubble you see on my screen. Just click that. You guys can track me down in there if you want. You can talk to any of our wonderful CS team with questions at any time. Brian and Krista and myself are always standing by to give you guys an extensive overlook, our demo of PhotoDay, just to show you what it's all about. We can walk through what your use case is, what your vision is on how you want to convert to online, and share our knowledge and talk to you about how our tool can work for you. So like I said, this is a really flexible, powerful solution. When we launched this product, it used to take me I like to brag about this. It used to take me like 26 minutes. 26 minutes, I've timed myself to show everything there is about PhotoDay from start to finish. I legit just spent 40 minutes talking about exports, and that's it, right? So like the software has just come such a long way, and we have learned so much that we're always willing to chat and share with you guys on that. So anyway, it was great chatting with you. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you that ask questions, thank you. I don't feel so alone as we go along. And yeah, if you need anything else, you know where to get us. So I hope you have a great rest of your week and a very profitable fall season. So thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later.